Neve.
All right, you're live with Neve. Hello and happy afternoon. It is a beautiful Friday. We're heading into the weekend here in the New York area. We've been told we might have some snow. I don't think so. We'll see, but I can diagnose the weather like Kruskin can. And I will just tell you that I don't think we're getting a snowstorm, but that's sort of what the captain of the Titanic said as he ran. Full steam ahead, bastards. At any rate, we're live with Neve, and I've got my usual co-host, the Detroit Madman Irish, who I will be bringing on in just a minute. And today's musical guest is a time traveler. Imagine this. While we talk, he is 3,200 miles away, and he's in the future. Yes, he's in the future because where he is, it's Saturday at 10:30. Do you know where your children are? I do. So we have a great time traveling, amazing saxophone player. He's played on lots of hits. One of them that I could just drop the name, but I'll do it when he's on, which you've all heard. The man, the myth, the legend. We're going to have Brian Smith on. I'm not bringing him on quite yet. So we're going to be talking saxophone. We're going to be talking his upbringing, his getting into music. The guy's first gig that was really professional, he mentioned, is Maynard Ferguson. So I'll just say that, 30-something years with Maynard or whatever it was a long time. And the guy's exceptional. I'm going to be playing a few bits. And we're lucky because he's actually going to play live. And that way you don't have to listen to me talk too much. I'm going to bring Brian on. I'm going to bring Detroit Irishman. What do you think there, crazy guy? You look like you're still a little sleepy.
Well, Irish people drink too much sometimes.
I know what you mean.
I know.
Lord, I have to. I come out of my kilt's all askew. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm hanging low, though. I know that.
You know how it goes. Sometimes you just got to let it all hang out.
Let it hang out. Well, I'm pretty sure down in New Zealand, our friend doesn't know about anything about people who drink too much. I'm kidding. He's in New Zealand. We'll have to ask him if it's true what they say about New Zealand.
I think we should ask him about that one. I think that might be a debatable topic.
Yes, it could be. Well, let's just bring him on into this circus. For everybody just coming in, I have Brian Smith from Maynard Ferguson standing by. Look at this guy. Very dapper gentleman. He's a proper Englishman. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. Nice to be here, Neil. Excellent.
It's really great to have you on. I've listened to a lot of your music lately and got a nice flashback to when I was young and the world was still my oyster. And now I'm just like every other old guy. I'm sitting here talking about songs from the past and loving it.
Oh, well, I'm the older guy, so I've got perhaps more to talk about.
You have, yes, you have more seniority on me. Absolutely. So tell me, when did you start playing and how and why and where did you take training as a youngster? Fill us in on your earliest years.
Well, I lived on a farm with my parents in New Zealand, in the middle of nowhere of the North Island, a little place called Toko, and it's in the province called Taranaki. And I learned the piano for when I was about 10. I like listening to records and stuff, 78s, not jazz. I didn't know anything about that at that age. And when I started the piano, I didn't know anything about jazz either. But my dad played the piano, mum played a bit of violin. And so I thought, I'll have a go at this. So I learned piano for 4 years. And I always tell people later on in life, I was always very grateful for my piano teacher made me learn scales, which is always hard to get kids to do, to learn your scales, you know.
Right.
And so that was a big help, just knowing roughly some of the scales and stuff you do. And then after about 4 years, I met a friend I went to high school with here, and he liked jazz, mainly English traditional sort of jazz it started off at.
Right.
And we used to listen to some records, and there was a couple other friends, and we would get together and listen to stuff. So that's when I was about 14 to 15. And after I gave up the piano, I got a clarinet because there's a little group of guys used to play at dances where I lived. Mm-hmm. And one of them played the tenor saxophone. And then later on, he left and joined another band, a little bigger band. So my dad helped me buy a tenor saxophone. Mm-hmm. And so I had a bit of clarinet and tenor saxophone. And I used to play at dances, school dances, and even church dances a little bit, you know. Mm-hmm. And there were sometimes 3, 4, or 5 of us would play. And
did you ever play with your parents? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
No, they didn't do that. But I remember Dad playing the piano a little bit. And mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's how I sort of got into jazz, was through a couple of friends not far from where I live. And then those movies came around, like the Benny Goodman story and the Glenn mm-hmm. Miller story, with those little clips with Louis Armstrong and all that stuff, you know, and that was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Going to the movies to see that stuff, and about 54 or 55 or something or other. And then it was always hard to get records out here, but stuff would come through, and I'd go through. When we went on holidays to Wellington, which is the south of the North Island, I'd save my money and I'd buy 78s, in which I've still got some under my bed that I bought when I was about 14 or 15.
That's awesome. My daughters have my record collection, which last I counted was around 13,000 albums.
That's much more than me. I haven't got that many.
When I moved from Florida to New York, I'm like not gonna think all those records are gonna fit in my car, you know.
Yeah.
I traveled light. Do you still listen to your old songs that you liked? Back in the day, standards.
Well, I mean, I got into like that traditional jazz thing, but I used to like a lot of Eddie Condon bands. You know, Eddie Condon had in New York had great bands with. Mm-hmm. Edmund Hall, clarinet player, used to play with Louis Armstrong sometimes, a Wild Bill Davidson trumpet. And I really got into that sort of music. I've still got a couple of their LPs. But from there, all of a sudden, I sort of went from that into sort of Max Roach and Clifford Brown and Miles Davis.
Oh, man.
Before I even heard Charlie Parker. But they were just things that were available that you could get occasionally, you know. So... So that was into that sort of thing, and then the Miles Davis thing, Coltrane and Sonny Rollins. And all that. Right.
Oh man. So do you have anything to talk about, Irish? We got about 5 minutes left. If you have some questions.
It's kind of funny that we have him on, because I mean I was with Zeb playing a couple weeks back, and this kid, he comes over with this huge I think it's alto sax.
Well, that's a smaller one.
What's the really big one?
Oh, baritone.
That one. And he can play it pretty well. Wow. And he was 15 years old, and you just don't really see that anymore. And I was like, man, this kid's pretty impressive, man. I was really kind of blown away by it, because you just don't really hear that anymore. And it's a skilled craft to woodwinds is tough stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of young kids now coming out of some of these colleges that got incredible techniques and all the stuff, playing stuff. You know, they haven't had a lot of experience of playing the music so much, but they can get around the horn. You know, really good.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed the horn section, especially when there's a big variety of it, and you hear the music, and then this bright, crisp, you know, sound comes out from all of these guys and women playing. It's awesome stuff. I love it.
Yeah. So, but I just started playing, and it wasn't until big bands till I got to England where I started really playing in any big bands. Most of the stuff I did was small groups and even rock and roll and blues groups, all that sort of stuff. I did all that, you know. I really enjoyed the blues music, and I always try to keep that aspect into it all, because I think that is a basic bit of jazz, is that blues element, you know, and all the great players have that.
How long have you been playing?
Oh, well, I'm 83 now, wow. And I started playing the saxophone when I was about 15.
So a bit of time.
A bit of time, man. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing it.
Yeah. So
and it has kept you in shape. You know,
I mean, look at this guy. Look at him. I mean,
I've been very lucky. You know, my health wise, I've had lots of friends who've gone, and you know, other people that have got problems, necks, knee, hips, all that stuff. You know,
of course.
And I've had none of that. So I don't know.
Well,
I thank my parents.
Thank your parents. Good living, a little bit of alcohol in moderation, lots of fun.
Oh yeah, a few drinks definitely. Got to do that. Drop a nice red wine.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And some Irish whiskey, a bit of Jameson's occasionally.
Ah, yes.
A bit of Jameson's then.
I've drunk all the above. I had enough that I decided just better that I don't drink. Being a drummer, I'm already kind of a little off, and adding a lot of alcohol to it, you know, that's just bad news. But I tell you, I enjoyed it. I loved it when I did it, and it's still. I love hanging around with my friends when they're drunk because my jokes are not as dumb as they usually are.
Right.
They yuck it up, whereas normally they'd be like, "That was lame, dude." But it's really great to have you here. You know, I think that all of us as we get older have that urge to try and pass something along. And I know you mentioned you do some teaching.
Yeah.
And I think even having talks like we have on our show, they're there for the future, for the kids who, you think about it, 50 years from now, some kid may be looking through the archives to get a doctorate in musicology, may find this and have to go sifting through the rubble to find out, you know, who bands you were. And, you know, I'm not in a famous band. I've played in front of and done some cool gigs with some people who've made a lot more money than I do. But, you know, it's all part of this. I think most musicians are definitely an agent for change and in good ways, keeping people sane during this. Nothing better than putting on music to take you away from the present.
I still do it. I still do it most nights, and I watch a lot of like YouTube things that are going on there and all that. And I watch a lot of that Emmett Cohen stuff that he does, you know, as well. You know, he does some great stuff, guests and that he has on his program and all sorts of various things. Then I go back and still listen to 50s things, Miles Davis, Sonny Rollins. Blakey, Horace Silver, all that stuff, you know.
I once told a girl I met at a drum convention that I was Art Blakey. I was with the drummer from Frank Zappa's band, Terry Bozzio. We were saddled up at the bar.
I know who you mean.
Yes, so these girls came up and wanted autographs from him, and then they were like, "Well, who are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm the drummer. I'm Art Blakey." He pretty much spewed his drink when I said that. I saw him look and crack up. And, you know, I'll just leave it at that. The rest of it fades to black. We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But that was life, man. It was great fun, too. So we're going to go to a break in 2 minutes. And then when we come back, everybody, I'm going to play a moment of our guest playing with Maynard Ferguson. I know some of you, I see you're going to have some questions, and we're here to answer them. So I'm just going to go ahead and, I don't know, like run an article about this weird Neve guy.
Hey there, it's Kevin Sorbo here, and you lucky people, you are live. You're live with Neve or Neve or Neve. I don't know. I can't say the dude's name. Anyway, you're on live with him, so I don't know. I guess that's a pretty good thing.
All right.
Right.
I guess you have a nickname down in New Zealand, Hard Bob. How did you come by that moniker?
Well, that all came by the Maynard's band, the drummer in the band at the time, Danny D'Imperio, who's from Rochester, upstate New York.
I won't hold it against him.
No, good. I used to get on really good with him, and he gave everybody in the band a nickname. So mine was Hard Bop Smith. Andy McIntosh at the time, he was Mean McIntosh. And Bruce Johnson, the baritone player at the band, who was also from New Zealand. At that time, there was two of us from New Zealand in that band, myself and Bruce Johnson, the baritone. So he was Bad Man Johnson.
I love it. I love it.
So Danny gave everyone all that. So Maynard used them as well.
I was going to ask you, did Maynard use them? They became your moniker?
On those clips that you see, he often introduces us like that. Yeah.
That's great. I love it. Tell me.
Nothing wrong with a good nickname.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if Rick's watching, but he hasn't seen my T-shirt yet, has he? I'll just stand up so you can see my T-shirt. There you go, Rick. I know you put something on there.
Yeah.
From 2004 at Maynard's reunion in LA.
There we go. I saw the videos of that today. Hey, turn around. He wants the full. He's suspect, so he wants to see your backside.
Yeah, there you go. Lovely. There's a whole bunch of names there, which is great to be amongst.
I like it. Many cities of there.
Good time.
So we've got like the whole interview. Go ahead. I'm going to let you talk for a minute there, Irish. You've been working. What are you thinking you'd like to ask this fine gentleman? I have a bunch of questions, but give the floor to you.
Again, we go back to the standard of almost instruments that are just not mainstream anymore. I mean, they'll hit like little pockets of mainstream, and you go, "Wow, those are great," and you just kind of go, "Why? Well, okay, why don't we bring them into all of mainstream? Because you have that big band feel is cool."
Yeah.
So how do you think that we can get like back to that? I don't know if it's a genre or if it's just a
well, it's still going
practice.
on, There's still big bands going on, I mean, there's the Lincoln Center band, they do stuff, and there's a lot of college bands in the States. Here in New Zealand, there's a guy in Wellington, Roger Fox, that runs stuff down there. In England, there's stuff going on. So all those big bands with the traditional, saxophone, trombone things, they're still around. But of course, you don't hear so much of them as you used to when the big bands like Basie and Ellington and Woody Herman and Stan Kenton and all that were happening, But they're still around, people doing it. But there's a lot of small group things too,
Yeah.
Quartet.
How does it transition? How is it like when you first started doing gigs to what you do now? I mean, how has things changed? How has the scene changed?
Well, there was a lot more work back then. It's a lot quieter now. But being older, I'm not that bothered about it now. If I get one or two gigs here and there, I'm really happy, and I play with two or three friends that I have around Auckland, and we do whatever, whenever it is. But it's not a lot. But there's a place just up the road where I'm playing tomorrow that's we've been doing a few things there, so that's quite nice too. But I mean, the music's still what I play. I mean, I've played all sorts of things, playing in quartet, just playing standard tunes and stuff. I've done all that all my life. Then I'll play in fusion bands, and I was in an English band called Nucleus, run by Ian Carr for over 12 years. Was that band. I was with Maynard's band over a period of 5 years. I know Neil mentioned something 30 years, but I was from 69 till 75 with Maynard. And quite a bit of that time was spent touring the latter part in the States as well, which is fantastic,
Yeah, how does it? So the fans back then playing at that time, and now the fans now, how are they different? I mean, I love stories of the expanding time.
Well, I mean, back in those days when Maynard, I mean, there was lots of fans around, and we used to play a lot of colleges, concerts, Carnegie Hall, and all around the place, And we used to do workshops as well quite often in the afternoons at those schools, and we'd do a clinic, and the saxophones would take kids' clinics and all that stuff. We'd do stuff. But in the evening, we'd do a concert, and it was always packed, It was always great. Maynard had this great following and fantastic guy, Yeah. So, but now it's different, It's, I mean, I've gone past all that now. I'm just happy to have a few gigs and a few people turn up, and that's it, But
how is COVID impacted down there where you're at?
We're very lucky, actually. It's they've kept it pretty much under control at the moment. The COVID one, this other Omicron one, hasn't actually got into the community here yet. People come to the border, but it hasn't got in yet. But people are saying another 2 or 3 weeks it could well do, and It may do, but we've been pretty lucky here.
Good. Well, I'm excited to hear some of your music, man. Neil, do we have clips? Neil?
Neil's gone.
Is he there? He's here.
Oh. Can't hear him.
All right.
That's it.
There we go.
He's eating. He's having his afternoon tea.
Exactly. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody. So it's just going to take a minute. Let me get it queued up. I'm going to share now. Share. It should pop up.
While we're doing that, what advice do you have for young people? Like I was mentioning, the one young man that came over to the jam session. What advice do you have for him to learn the saxophone?
Concentrate on listening to good players so you develop a good sound, and a good sense of timing. Sound and time are the two things. If you haven't got a decent sound on the instrument, everyone plays with different sounds, but you've got to have a decent sound that grabs people, and then a good sense of timing as well, where you put in the notes.
Yeah.
If that doesn't all work, well, it's all over the place.
Yeah, timing is everything.
That's it, man. Yeah. Time and sound.
Mm-hmm. Do we got it?
What do we got?
Oh, I was asking if we got the screen. Here it comes. Maybe. So what do you play again? You play the guitar? I do all of it really. I dabble with the keyboard a little bit. I can play chords, some chords, some minor scales. But
that's what I do.
I'm a drummer, and I'm a guitar player, and I'm a singer-songwriter. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Did you guys you didn't hear the music at all or see it?
No.
Okay. Shit. Oh.
Yep. Oh, dear me.
Well, that was me attempting to play Chameleon. For whatever reason, it's not there. I guess since we're here at this point, would you like to play a little something?
Well, I've got my saxophone on the chair. I just have to go and get it.
That's all right. Take it as that'll be fun.
Oh, well, just be a second.
Okay,
Neil,
everybody.
Do we have any I'm trying to think of regular bands that you regularly hear with saxophone in it. I mean, they're in the circuits, of course, in the festivals. I'm trying to nail it down. I can't find one in my brain.
Oh man, I grew up there's Bruce Springsteen, Clarence Clemens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. A
Jersey
boy.
He died, didn't he? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever meet him?
No. I didn't know. But I met Thelonious Monk.
Oh. I've been to Rudy Van Gelder's studios, never recorded there.
All right.
I did get to meet Rudy before he passed. And
yeah.
I just need to make enough money to record there.
Man, the stuff that was done there is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever worked there?
No. That album we did with Maynard and Chameleon, we did at Columbia Studios.
Okay.
52nd Street, or whatever it was. I think it was an old church, or is an old church.
Right.
I believe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Wow.
So you did sing. You didn't get that.
sounded great too.
That is exceptional. God, the tone quality. Do you practice in the afternoons? Did you play today before you came on?
I played a few notes this morning. I play most days. I usually try to do it in the morning. Sometimes in the afternoon I get distracted with a couple of drinks.
There you go.
Which is good sometimes too.
Well, I have, let's see, Herb Albert and Sergio, and of course BB used saxes in BB King solo. Very true.
Yeah, all those bands use horn sections, well, most of them anyway.
Have you heard of a band called Snarky Puppy? Excuse me.
Oh yeah, good band.
Yeah, I saw them here about 2 years ago, and they blew me away. It made me happy that young guys are digging on jazz like I did when I was a young guy.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd play anything. My basics, I'll play anywhere, whatever. If I don't know it, I'll usually fake it and get the gig and figure it out. I mean, some things you can't fake, but you always just have to have a little hustle. So, let's talk about recording that song a little bit. We have about 3 minutes. When you recorded that song, you played it. I could hear the little things I'd forgotten were in there, like da 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 da, and it caught my ear. You pretty much how many times do you think you played that song?
Oh, hundreds. But when we recorded it, we Tia Macero was the producer for Columbia Records. He used to do all those Miles stuff and all that too, but he was the producer. And we'd stay in New York for 2 or 3 nights and just go out, perhaps at Connecticut, out to Jersey or something, and do a gig, come back in, and next morning go to the studio and do that album, And I always remember Tia Macero when we were doing that track Chameleon. The other funny thing about him was he would eat cigarettes. Somebody give him a cigarette and he'd eat it. He wouldn't smoke it. I remember it was so weird, man.
Was he a drummer? No, I'm kidding you.
No, I don't think so.
I'm teasing you when I say that. It's like we're the guys.
You must know of Tia Macero, though.
Yes.
The producer that did all that stuff,
Right.
Yeah. I always remember because the little solo I did on that was actually overdubbed. It wasn't live on that record. And we had a couple of goes. And I remember him saying to me, he said, think a bit more like Ornette Coleman.
Oh, right.
Which wasn't probably the style that was needed, but anyway, he was quite hilarious anyway, and the little bit I did on the record we did in the end, it was fine. And then of course there's various clips playing that with the band live, and at the top of the town in Rochester, that DVD from there doing all that stuff.
Oh, is that in that old hotel, the round one that they have around various countries?
I think that's it. Yeah, we stayed in the hotel and used to come down and play the gig. Rick knows the program. Hello, Rick.
Rick, we're going to go to a break real quick, and we're going to be right back. We're talking live with Brian Smith and my buddy Irish and me, and we'll be right back and talk to you soon.
We are the Stone of Atlantis, and you are tuned in to Live with Neve.
All right, we're back.
Hey,
Neve. Hey.
There you go.
So we're glad that we are live with Neve. It is 4:30, half past the hour, and we're talking to Brian Smith of Maynard Ferguson's favorite. Let me ask you: is the song we talked about that I didn't mention yet, MP? Is that your favorite? What is your favorite thing you've worked on? I should ask, other than Maynard Ferguson.
MP. Well, the other band that I worked with in England was a band called Nucleus, run by a trumpet player called Ian Carr. And we did about 12 albums. And that was a jazz rock fusion sort of band. I'm trying to find that's a cover of the original lineup of this band Nucleus, and Ian Carr was the trumpet player on this.
Nice.
And we did quite a lot of stuff with this band in Germany and Italy again. So in that period, from 79, all these things started in 79. It seemed to be Maynard, Nucleus, and the English tenor player Tubby Hayes got a band together. You know of Tubby Hayes?
I'm not familiar with him.
No, right. Well, he got a band together, and I did that. We didn't do that much stuff with him, but so I juggled things around a bit. I didn't do all the gigs with Maynard. Oh, where we go, and
sorry,
and then after the Maynard thing finished, I would work back with Nucleus, and I stayed with them till I came back to New Zealand. We did quite a lot of albums and touring with that band.
I'll have to. Is that stuff still up on YouTube? Some of it?
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, there's Nucleus stuff. If you look up, there's some various albums up there,
right
on there, and it was pretty popular. And we went with that band in 1970. We went to the Newport Montreux Jazz Festival. At least the countries had sent a band over, and we won the competition. They had a competition, and the prize from that was to play at the Newport Jazz Festival in 1970 in New York, which we came over and did that. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was fantastic.
I'll bet.
Really good. Yeah.
What was your first impression of New York City the first time you got here?
Well, the first time I went to New York was in 1964 when I came from New Zealand to England, because my wife was English and her father still lived in a little town just near Manchester.
Okay.
So she was already over there, and I was doing a tour here, finishing that off. But I had one night in New York in June 64 on the stopover, and I couldn't believe it. I heard in one night at the 5 spot was the Herbie Hancock Trio, and the Charlie Mingus Quartet were on that night. The same, and at the half spot, John Coltrane Quartet. And I caught all that in one night, man. I was like,
wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Did you play at Birdland during that time period?
No, Birdland was closed then,
Gotcha.
Yeah, but no, I just had that one night and I heard those 3 bands, which was...
I bet you just left like, wow, this is great. I'm like enjoying being here.
So I didn't get back to the States again until I came back with Maynard. That was in 71, 2, around that period, the first trips. Did 2 or 3 trips over there. 1974, I was in the States for a whole year. I stayed there. And my family came to, I've got 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and I have 6 grandchildren. And they all live not far from me in Auckland, except one of them lives down the country a bit. So they all went to school in California for a while, near Encinitas.
Okay. And
but that year, 74, I was in the States for that whole year, traveling around. And then when we had a break in the middle of the summer, we hired a Winnebago camper van with some friends of ours and went to the Grand Canyon and Vegas and all that stuff.
That's really that's great times, I'm sure. A lot of great memories. And when you between working with Maynard, were you living in the States, actually residing here?
No.
So
we would do a tour and then we'd fly back to London when we had a break, and then fly back. And of course, the band, the last of the band of the English band was just the saxophone section. But by that time, all the rest of the band were the American band. So it was just Andy McIntosh, Bruce Johnson, and myself. And then it got not feasible to keep bringing us over. So that finished that. Then Maynard had to change the band, and all sorts of people went through the band.
Oh yeah.
So it was a great experience, fantastic.
Well, we have a question. Did Fats Domino play sax? You answer that. No,
not to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge is the only answer I have too. If he did, he probably played like I do, which is why I'm not known as Neil for saxophone. They don't call me. Definitely not.
If you have to, man, the first time you try a woodwind, you make this horrible, awful sound. And I remember I did it once. I just, And I couldn't make anything happen. And the next thing I heard it sounded like a cat screaming after a banshee had decided to attack it.
Yeah.
You got to keep working. I'm still working on it, man. Sound and trying to get a good read and all the rest of it.
I think you're doing pretty good, pal. just a good point. I think you're doing very well. You sound amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to ask, since we're just sitting here, I'd rather listen to you play than me talk. Would you like to play something that is very, very well known, and you have a signature part that you've pretty much written? For you guys who don't know this, I'm going to let him play it, but this is the real deal. You've all heard this song many times, many.
What song? You don't know what
Park.
No, I can't do that.
Okay.
That's a little hard to do just by yourself. But I can do a tune that Maynard used to play a lot, and that was called.
Oh, man. Wow.
There you go. Maynard used to have an arrangement he used to do of that tune
Very
way
good.
back.
Wonderful. You're just beautiful. I just got chills from it.
So you know that one.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that one.
How about something from the Pink Panther?
No.
No, not.
I don't do those things. But
That's okay.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you sound phenomenal. You really are just an amazing player and talent.
The runs that he does are so
I know,
smooth, man. So
he's been playing a long time, and it's just obvious. I knew the first time you picked it up, I was like, oh my Lord, you haven't even been practicing. Your intonation blows me away.
I keep working on it, man. Always working on it.
Isn't that the key to everything? Just keep at it. Keep busy.
That's right. No.
Don't be sitting around complaining about what's going on. Just do something and make it better.
It's a good life lesson right there.
Well, do you have something else you'd like to play? We've got a few more minutes, and
anything. Yeah, just it's great to listen to you play.
It
man.
is.
I can sit and listen to that all day.
That was Sonny Rollins' tune called Alfie.
Excellent.
Awesome.
A brilliant piece.
That was in that movie Alfie as well that he
Right,
played
right.
on way back.
I do remember that.
Yes, right.
Yep.
Great movie. Wow, I'm showing my age too.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of that as a kid, a lot of that as a child, hearing, that kind of music, not knowing what it was, but really liking it.
Yeah, in the 60s, I heard Sonny Rollins, 3 or 4 times. I heard him at Ronnie Scott's club in London the first time. It would have been about 1967, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. One of my big influences of all time. Yeah.
Wow.
And he's still alive. Unfortunately, he doesn't play, but he's still alive, yeah.
For those of you who don't know who Sonny Rollins is, you probably heard him on Foreigner's Urgent, the song. It's a signature sax part that he played. He happened, my understanding, is at the record plant. He was there recording with someone else. They heard him and just dragged him down in the middle of the session and said, here. He did it in literally 1 or 2 takes, and that was it. And the rest is, I'm sure he digs that royalty check,
Yeah, I'm sure he got well paid.
Yes.
But another person that I should mention about what to do with Maynard was Ernie's manager, Maynard's manager, Ernie Garside. And he lives from Manchester or Cheshire, which is just in the same area of England there. And he's just turned 90 because our birthdays are on the same day. I was 83 on the 3rd of January, and Ernie was 90. Unfortunately, he's in a home now, and he not too well. He's got a grandson that looks after him. But he was Maynard's manager for all that time, and that's through him really how I got into Maynard's band, because he knew me from when I was around Manchester area. Yeah. So I think Rick knows a bit about Ernie Garside.
Rick just ask Brian about Italy with Maynard.
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned earlier the first time we went there was I think the second time a gig even hadn't rehearsed, but we went there a few times with Maynard, and it was great. I always enjoyed going to Italy.
I'm sure.
That other band, English, a Nucleus band that I was with, we went there with them a few times too. Germany and Italy were the 2 main places that we went to. And it was great. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. So Maynard was really good as a band leader. I mean, when I first started playing, I hadn't seen the music, and there was 2 other saxophone players, Peter King, a great alto player from London. And so I was trying to sight read all the stuff, which is pretty hard, some of those early charts.
Sure.
But I think Maynard, if he could hear you, thought, few gigs, you get it down, you'd be all right. So he was pretty good. He knew what was going on, and people who designate solos too that suited them for the various pieces, all that stuff. So and he was very fair with all his stuff, and always really nice,
Everything I've ever heard of him as a band leader is just the best to hear. I mean, it's not like listening to Buddy Rich's guys.
That was a bit different. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you came on with us. You're an amazing talent. I'd love to have you back sometime, talk more, because we could talk for a long time.
There's probably various other things to get into. I can't remember. It just depends what sparks it at the moment.
That's all right. You're having. I enjoyed the interview tremendously, because I just love listening to people who've been involved in the scene in the 70s. And
the nostalgia of it, man. You can catch the nostalgia in the stories. I love it, man. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. There's a few stories, but there we go. Sometimes after we finish, I'll probably think, oh yeah, I should have said that.
Oh, right.
We have time. We will do this again.
Yeah.
Before you go, tell us, where can we get your products? Do you have a web page or anything? Do you sell any of your own stuff?
I don't. No, I don't. Okay. No. So some of the stuff you can't get now, but I know that like all those Maynard albums are all available. The Nucleus albums, they're available. They keep repressing them. And this stuff, the Moonlight Sax stuff, is it's a bit hard to find now, but it is on YouTube.
Right, that's where I've found it.
And this Talpo, the album, that's the last album I did here in about 2007.
Okay.
And there's a photo on the back of some of the band, different people, and
great,
and all that. Some of my tunes, some originals, some standards, and that we did on there.
I'm gonna next time I bring you on, I'll have some of those clips loaded so that we can, talk about them a little bit and
Yeah, so Spotify has a lot of that stuff on it, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. All right, everybody. Well, we're wrapping it up here. It is Live with Neve. We are glad you're here, and we will see you next time. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Great meeting you, Brian. Have a good
Thank you
weekend.
very much for the interview. Enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
It was my honor, man. Really was.
I'm meeting up with a friend for a couple of beers this afternoon. So there you go.
Excellent.
I'll be telling them all about it.
Well, you can share it. Tell them to stop on by. And if you hear of anybody that you think might be interesting, bye-bye.
We are the Sons of Atlantis, and you are tuned in to Live with Me.
Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my.
Hey, everybody, this is Steve from Reach for the Sky, along with Jay from Reach for the